Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Oh, it's Friday.
That's true. It is Friday. In spite of whatever we might want to do about it, it is Friday.
That's true.
We made it again through another week.
Yep. That's kind of good news, bad news. You don't want to get through too many weeks, but then too fast, because then you can't enjoy life.
Well, agreed. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to rush. You don't want to rush.
No rush.
This will be my background for today. There. Kind of show you where I am in progress with things. So, Bob, do you like to do a lot of drawing?
Well, yes, I do. However, recently I have had some illness, and my get up and go and energy levels have subsided quite a bit recently. So anyway, I'm trying to get back in. I feel a little bit better, and so maybe I can get to doing some more drawing.
Yeah. I just got I just talked to my daughter. I'm going to call her after the class. She's been working as a medical tech in Kansas, and she's been down the last 2 weeks with coronavirus. So
yeah,
but she's doing okay, and she seems to be feeling better, at this point. But
yeah, my son's father-in-law was just diagnosed with COVID, and I was exposed to him a week ago.
Oh.
So I'm kind of just I'm not having any symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of wait and see.
Okay. Well, we'll cross our fingers and hope that that maybe he picked it up after he was at your house. So
yeah. Well, he wasn't. I mean, I had dinner with him on Thanksgiving,
mm-hmm.
and then it was he was not. He had some tooth problems,
mm-hmm.
and so he got. Anyway, that's a long story. But anyway, to make it short, they wound up putting him in the hospital on Tuesday, I think, with shortness of breath. But it was due to the tooth problems, not due to the.
Oh.
And then he wound up with pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they diagnosed after that, and then they diagnosed him with COVID. So, I don't know what the sequence of events
mm-hmm.
wound up being.
Well, hopefully he'll be okay.
Yep.
I mean, it's same thing with my daughter. I don't know a lot right now, but she sounded like she was okay for right now. And, she's young. She's 22.
Yep.
So hopefully she'll get through this.
Yeah. The odds are really, really high that she'll recover fully.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the question is recover, and then is there going to be any kind of residual thing from it? And that's the scary part. I think she's, she would certainly have a better chance than I do of recovering from it.
Amen to that.
Yeah, but it's this stuff leaves a lot of nasty stuff, afterward. So
it can, yes.
Yeah. So hopefully that won't be the case.
I sent you some stuff a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, and I think you commented on them sometime when I was in my illness process.
Oh.
So it was the turtle and the and the flower
Mhm.
and the finished product of the Eagle.
Right.
So I did not get to critique on that because.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Over lunch, I'll try to pull some of those because I've got some of Jacqueline's things that I had talked about before, but she wasn't here, and so I put those in the mix today, and I'll keep them in the mix till Monday, and so either today or Monday, we'll
Okay.
look at them and go over them. Okay.
Sounds fine. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So let's get rocking and rolling. We have 6 whole people here. There's actually, I see a smiling face out there. Zale. Hi, Zale. You have to unmute yourself because we can't hear you. Here, I'll do it. If it will let me. Unmute. Come on.
Okay.
Ah,
Technology baffles me. It's Joyce.
Oh, gee. How you doing?
I'm okay. I haven't cut my hair since February.
I just see a little tiny picture of you and it's like, who is that?
Little hair keeps going.
Yeah. How about
Let's see if I can get it longer than I had it in the 70s.
Okay. Okay. That's a goal. Yeah. Yeah. How have you been?
Okay. I was going to donate to Locks of Love, but I found out that they don't take old people's hair.
Well, they don't. Okay.
No, if you're over 60, they don't want your old, gray, thin, cruddy hair.
Oh, because they've been taking my hair for, well, I didn't send them anything last year. But up until then, I would grow my hair long every year and then cut it and send it to them. And
Well,
I've never gotten anything back to say, yeah, we don't want it.
yeah, well, maybe you have great hair, Charles, when you grow it out. I don't know.
Yeah, well, my hair was not gray, so maybe that's,
No, I said great.
Oh, great hair.
But, my poor sister-in-law has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she's just getting radiation and losing her hair like crazy. So can't complain about the stringy thin.
Hey, you got hair, you're here and you got hair. All right. So let's get rocking and rolling. Okay. Looks like we've, got 8 people. Huh.
How come Naomi won't show us her face?
Oh, I don't know. Let's ask her. Naomi? We have to unmute her. I'm sure she'll have something.
Oh, hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi. So why won't
everybody is asking me that?
Yeah, why?
You'll see me after Corona.
We'll see you after Corona?
After Corona, after we're done with this pandemic.
Okay, but you won't show your face on Zoom?
No.
Oh. Okay. Can we ask why?
No, I don't want to be seen in my pajamas or whatever.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're taking the casual approach, to these classes.
Very casual.
Okay.
That's
fine. I think that's why they created Zoom the way they did, so you could, put a picture or whatever.
Oh, I think Zoom is fabulous.
Over time, I have come to actually appreciate, some of the aspects of this format, over actually being in a classroom. So, it's got a lot of potential. And, I'm trying to work out how to present material to everyone as an example this morning. Okay. And we're going to jump into that. But long term, I think there's really some potential there, as a teaching medium to be able to reach out to people, far beyond, just a local area. And, actually have interactive classes and things from really people, all around the world. Obviously language could be a barrier, but, beyond that, doing drawing and painting demonstrations, language helps, but, people just being able to observe sometimes, they can pick up a lot, just through the process of watching something develop. And we're going to do that right now. Okay. So is everybody okay this morning?
Yeah, just
Very
fine.
good.
Okay.
Waiting for the rain.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Good.
I'd
Yeah.
like to apologize in advance that I'm going to log off around 10:30 because I have another class then.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's fine.
We don't accept it.
Mhm.
Well, you might find this so fascinating that you just decide, hang in here, so you could do that too. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to start sharing a screen, and I don't want to do that. Okay. Well, I guess I do. I did a demo, and as everybody can see, okay, that's kind of the last stage, and we really need to go to the first stage, which is right there. Okay. Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you about, since today is all about drawing techniques, things like that, is both dry and wet media in drawing. And, once upon a time, when you talked about wet drawing media, what you were talking about was India ink, right? India ink or some kind of thinned paint that you could sketch with, right? That's not true anymore, all right? Because we live in the 21st century, and chemistry is an amazing thing, and they've figured out ways now of creating graphite that is water soluble. And so I'm going to kind of step you through this. And so what you're seeing right now is you're seeing a couple brushes, you're seeing a water container, that you can clean your brushes out and lift water from. And then you're looking at graphite, okay? Both. Now, the graphite that I generally tend to use are the solid woodless sticks of graphite. And I prefer those over, say, like a regular pencil with wood on the outside of it. Mainly because it's just a solid piece of that medium that, if you sharpen it, you get a nice long edge on it, then you can use it in, a variety of ways, by laying it to the side and laying in some large blocks of tone. Or you can use the point of it to make finer lines and edges and things like that. Now, with the larger, like crayon size, again, if those break, again, you can use them. You can use the whole piece, just lay it to the side, and you can lay down some very large areas of tone very quickly, right? Or again, you can make much larger, kind of fatter lines, not as refined, unless you sharpen it down to a point, and then you can get a little bit of all of it. Now, so that's the basic media. And then the paper that I'm working on is, it's a Bristol board is the technical name of it, right? It's just a white. I believe this is probably a Strathmore Bristol board. And I like Bristol board to draw on. It's heavier than just regular drawing paper. And it has a lot of possibilities. I've done illustration work on Bristol board where I've painted on it or combined drawings with, paint medium. It will take water, and not buckle up and wrinkle a lot, like lighter weight drawing papers and things. And particularly since I'm working with water in this particular case, that's a concern, because most papers have kind of a saturation point, and you can't really get them any wetter than that before they start really coming apart. And so, you need to be careful with that. Watercolor papers are sort of an exception in the sense that they're designed, from the very beginning to be wet. And because of that, they're what you call a high rag content. right? So basically it's most of that paper is made almost exclusively out of cotton fiber. There's no actual wood pulp in that whatsoever. And because of that, it can take the water and you can keep wetting it and it won't fall apart. Better watercolor papers, you can, really soak. A lot of the kind of student grade watercolor papers, they'll take a fair amount of water. And then after that, even they will begin to peel and kind of, come apart. So, you want to be aware of how much water you're using on that surface and what type of surface you're using. And it's good to maybe do an experiment, when you get a pad of paper or something like that, get a little sheet, try a little bit of it, get it wet, scrub it with a brush, see how much actual abuse it will take, before you get into doing a final piece on it. That way you're aware of how far you can push it, and you can prevent, kind of being in the middle of doing a piece and then having pieces of it start peeling up on you. That's really frustrating, particularly when you've got something going that you really like and you just oversaturate the paper and then destroy it. And I've done that, I'm guilty of it. Been there. So my experience is go cautiously, okay? What I did is I took a little bit of the crayon graphite, and as you can see, I laid it to the side and I just started making some marks, and I'm just testing it. Okay, I want to see how it's going to react, with the water. Now this is just regular graphite. This is not anything special. It's just regular graphite. Okay, and so you get a brush, load it with water, and what do? You put that down there, and this is what you get. Okay, in fact, just with regular graphite, you can actually move it around quite a bit. Now the thing is, if you really look at this, you can still see some of the cut or scratch marks where you actually drew with the media and how it made sort of an indentation in the paper, right? And so some of that graphite doesn't dissolve completely and doesn't really wash very well. Same thing with these corner or pit solid sticks of graphite. Okay, you can take that, and again, you put some of it down, you wet it, it will move, a little bit, but you still have, these areas that won't dissolve, and so you can't really move it around totally. Now, in contrast, you have this medium, okay? And it looks a lot like a regular stick of graphite, but this is actually a water-soluble graphite, okay? And it's made specifically to use with water as a media, so that when you're doing your drawings, you can wet them and you come up with somewhat of a watercolor effect. So as you can see, I laid down some of the graphite right there. And then I took a brush, same brush, and wet it. And then I added water to that. And as you can see, wow, just a little bit of that, it almost turned into like India ink. Okay. And you can add more water to it, keep pushing it around. And it really is more like an ink wash type media. There's also, not only those crayons, you can also get pencils now, and these are by General. And Lyra, which was were the people who made the stick, they also make pencils. For some reason, Binders does not carry the pencil, they'll carry the crayon. but they do carry these general, and they also, I think they have several different types of water soluble pencils. Okay, so if you're ordering things online, Dick Blick, Binders, either one of them will have them. You can probably now find them in Michael's and Joann's and other places as well. And if you don't find them right in your store, they should be able to order them for you, okay, within, a couple of days. Shouldn't take too long to get them. Anyway, so, you put some of this stuff down, and so up above it is the original, Kohler graphite stick. This is the water soluble stick. And again, you start adding water to it. And again, see how it washes? And, it really dissolves almost completely, in the water, and really becomes more like an ink type media than really a pencil, okay? And you can get, some really, really fascinating, interesting textures and things with this. It's a lot like doing watercolor. So in particular, I really like this media because it gives you a lot of versatility. You can use it like a pencil. You can use it, with a little bit of water and get a whole totally different look to it. So, so on that piece of Bristol board, I started a sketch, okay? And so, you're all familiar with kind of how I approach drawing. And so what I did is, I found my big shapes, and then I just began to indicate where light and shadow are. So again, kind of an egg shape or an oval, right?
This is the graphite pencil?
No, these are the water soluble pencils.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, just like a regular drawing, I'm finding my big shapes and I'm laying in a shadow side and a light side, right? To begin to kind of indicate that this is not a flat shape, that in fact it's a form, okay? I developed the drawing a little bit further, keep going, and just, very loosely kind of hatching in, areas of value, right? That's all I'm really worried about. I'm not trying to make it look like anything yet. I'm just putting in light and dark areas, okay? From there, I come in with that brush and some water, and I start, basically wetting these areas and manipulating them, moving them around. And that's what you come up with, okay? Okay. So, just totally transform that, sketch. And now it's, looks like a watercolor, right? Lots of value. Can anybody tell what that is? Is it an apple? Is it an onion?
It's a man's face to bust, isn't it?
Okay. All right. Good call there. You're right. It is a man's face. Okay. It is not an apple, and it is not an onion. Okay. All right. I'm glad you got that right. Otherwise, that's not saying much about my drawing skills. Okay. So, I keep developing that. Now, I haven't added any more graphite. All I've done is I've started lifting, wetting and lifting areas and transferring, values, to the different areas, that I want to move them to. And that's the great thing about this is that, if you get something and let's say that your value is too dark, right? Add water. You wet it, you lift, you lift it back to the value you want, and you can actually take that medium that's in the brush and then use it somewhere else. So, you can really move this stuff around quite a bit. And, that's the thing I really love about it is that, it gives you this flexibility of keeping on working with that surface and those values until you manipulate them and get them just the way you want. Okay. So that's kind of where I ended up with right there.
Those
And
water droplets make it look like it's on the stand. The way the water runs down
yeah,
makes it look like it's in.
yeah. And now somebody's wanting to call me. I don't know why, but but in answer to your question, Bernice, this was done on a drawing board, and it was done vertically. And so when you put the water down, it does drip and run.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the idea. I wanted it to drip and run. In fact, I want it to drip and run more than that, as time goes on. So I'll keep working with it and keep getting it to drip and run, and because I want to create a series of interesting textures and transitions in value and surface, so that you look at it, you see the drawing of a face, but at the same time, you also kind of see the beauty of the medium, and what the medium will naturally do anyway. And going back, let's see. Yeah, okay. Let's go back to here. Okay. Now, notice, you see how the shoulder kind of comes into the neck right here, and there's a fair amount of space. And then I was looking at the reference that I was working from and noticing, I've got that shoulder too low. So I just take some water and I start pushing it up, and see, I can move it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like paint, right? So I can adjust things, I can keep working back and forth. Now, let's say that I got it too high and I wanted to bring it down. Again, I can wet that edge and maybe take a paper towel, something, and blot it and pick that medium up. So you see, I can keep working it back and forth, much like I can paint, and, and just develop, different areas and my value structure until I get it, really just the way I want it.
So you can add layers and
Yes. Yeah. In fact, the next step, you see, I've gone back in, it's dried a little bit, and I've gone back in and I've started, developing, the actual underlying structure, of the actual features on the face, right? Bringing out the nose, the eye sockets, the orbits of the eye, the curve in the mouth, things like that. And I've also, widened out the jaw here a little bit, So, and I'll keep playing with it and manipulating it until I get it really just the way I want it.
I was saying, I needed that pencil on yesterday.
You did?
Yeah, I was trying to draw something.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing about those pencils are, they're not any more expensive than any other drawing pencil. They're probably about $1 a piece, maybe $1.30, $1.50.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of opens up, a whole new possibility, of ways of working with, a safe medium, that you can use at your home, that doesn't give off fumes, that are non-toxic. So if you have pets and grandchildren and things like that, you don't have to worry about them getting into the linseed oil or the turpentine or anything like that. And there's no fumes, there's no odor that you have to deal with. So now, a lot of artists, such as Casey Bow, I think I've shown you examples where he's used regular charcoal and charcoal sticks and things like that. And he uses it with a material or a substance called acetone. Now, acetone is highly toxic. It gives off a lot of fumes and things. Beautiful effect, of how it kind of breaks that charcoal up and gives you these kind of granular looking effects. But but it's hazardous, and you have to work in a safe environment, and you have to work in a way where you're not putting yourself at risk, in dealing with a lot of harsh chemicals. You can also use like terpenoid, which is, a medium that you would use for oil painting, and you can use it with either charcoal or graphite. And again, get a similar effect. Again, though, you have the same problem. Even though terpenoid or odorless paint thinners really don't have any strong odor, that doesn't mean that they're not toxic, and it doesn't mean that they won't give off fumes. So if you're working in an enclosed space at home and you've got that terpenoid out, you're, splashing it on your paper, and, you're getting all these beautiful effects and this dripping and running and kind of flowing type things, that's great, but as that dries out, that all ends up in the air that you're breathing. Okay. And so where you're working has to be well ventilated to be working with any of those mediums. Okay. Just as a cautionary note, right? Because.
Hey, Charles, can you add color over that if you wanted to? Let's say another watercolor or.
Well,
could you add color if you didn't want to keep the monotone?
Well, you could not do that with another water medium. Okay.
Okay.
Because if you wet this, it will move, right? And so if you try watercolor over it, it's going to mix with the watercolor, all right? And I think you'll end up getting a lot of muddy color. Now, what you could do, if you wanted to put color over this, is you could spray it and seal it with like a clear acrylic or something like that to create some kind of barrier between it and the paint medium, and then put the paint medium on top. And if I were going to do that, I would use an acrylic, and you can use it as washes or whatever you want to approach it. But I would seal that, graphite, in there so that it won't move around, and that way, you won't where you're drawing in the painting process. Okay.
Thank you.
What's the surface of the paper? Is it texture or a little texture on it?
It's what they call a plate finish. It's fairly smooth. It's not slick. But it's a fairly smooth surface, and it's kind of like a hot press watercolor paper.
Okay.
Okay. If you're familiar with that kind of surface.
Right.
The cold press has more texture and rougher. The hot press is smoother. So it's similar. But the nice thing about Bristol board that I like, unlike illustration board, illustration board is a couple of layers of paper, and it's basically pasted down to a chipboard surface that's hard, right? Bristol board, on the other hand, is flexible, and what it is, it's probably, depending on the weight of it, about 20 or 30 layers of this archival paper, all bonded together to make, a heavier sheet. And it's really very durable. It's archival. It will last, for literally hundreds and hundreds of years. Unless you do something, to destroy it, like just put oil paint directly on it or something like that, and then the acids will eat it. But it will hold up for a long time. And I've painted on it. I've done drawings on it. Primarily, I really like doing drawings on that surface, just because, again, you can work it. It's a lot more durable than most of the drawing papers that you work on. The only thing about it is, as far as a negative goes, it only comes in white. you can't get a gray sheet of it or anything like that, which is too bad. Because, if it came toned, that would open up all kinds of more possibilities. But, being, creative people the way we are, I can take a piece of Bristol board and I can coat it out and make it gray, right? Now, I want to do that with some fairly thinned down paint so that as I do it, I'm not building up a slick surface, to work on. And so normally I would do that with like an acrylic, and I would thin the acrylic way down. And in this particular case, because I want to make it a specific gray, I would go ahead and make that value, using white, and then thin that mixture down and then coat the paper out and let it dry thoroughly before I would work on it. And that way you have a toned background that you can work light and dark on, and, pretty effectively. So.
Charles, I have a question.
Sure.
When did the practice of allowing your paint drip become, I don't know, fashionable? I mean, yeah, when did they start, when did artists start doing that?
Sometime around about the Baroque period.
Mm.
Yeah. Now, okay. If you look at a lot of work that was done back in the 15th, 16th, 17th century, particularly preliminary sketches, things like that, you see that all the time. That's not an unusual thing to find. And, it's basically been carried forward, into, contemporary times. Now, at the time, I don't know that they were doing it, as a statement or a style or anything like that. But, a lot of contemporary painters, being within the 20th century and now into the 21st century, they use that as kind of their style, a way of, really a signature to their work. And that's fine, because what they're really trying to do is they're not trying to hide the medium that they're working with, right? They're actually trying to, show you, okay, yeah, this is a wash, right? It's a wash type medium. And so, when you're looking at it, you can kind of tell how it was done. You can kind of see the process. And that's one of the big differences in contemporary art versus, say, art from like the Baroque and, even into the Impressionist, period of painting and post-Impressionist, is up until that time, they were trying to literally fool your eye, right? And make you believe that what you're seeing is a landscape, or a figure or a face. And I think once we got into the 20th century, pretty much so, so you're looking early 1900s all the way through today, pretty much so artists have taken the viewpoint of, no, I want this to represent what I was seeing, but I'm not trying to make a photographic representation of it. I want you to know that it's a painting. I want you to know that it's a drawing or whatever. And I want you to be able to see some of the process that I used to create this. That makes sense to you?
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I clearly understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I guess I have to get to the point, is it something that is aesthetically appealing to me?
Okay.
I think that's...
And it may not be.
I'm not sure if it is or it isn't. It's
Right.
just, I love abstract, and I think I like it. I mean, I look at some of the things that I've done, and when I see those things running like that, I'm like, oof, I should clean it up.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know if I like it or not. It's it's like bananas. I don't know if I like them or not. I eat them sometimes, but I'm not sure if I like it. So
Hey, Charles,
Yes.
I recall down at the Benson Center, one of the artwork that was displayed in the hallway, I think it was from one of your classes, and it was like race horses. I
Okay.
don't remember that one or who the student was at that time, but it was all runny, the legs of the horses, and it was, to me, it was just absolutely fantastic.
Right.
mm,
Yeah, and again, it's all sort of subjective. It's whether you like that or not. Some people will, some people won't, and that's okay.
yeah,
Uh,
it is.
the question is, does it serve the artist's purpose? Again, and
Right, exactly. Okay.
and like for this piece, right? Um, did I plan to have those 3 trails of water run all the way down to the paper, bottom? No, it just happened. And for right now, I'm okay with it because I haven't decided whether I'm going to add more water down there and soften that all out, or, how I'm going to actually finish the piece, right? And where I'm going to want the running, dripping effects or not. Okay.
I have a question also.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you did it on a flat surface, would
Mhm.
it still run?
No. If I laid this down, it won't. And in the end, if I wanted to get rid of those, all I would have to do is take a wet brush and wet them and kind of scrub them out and soften them, and they would kind of go away. See? So I can either keep them or lose them. It's fine.
With the comment that Bernice made about it, looks like it's on a stand. I mean, I see that. I didn't see it until Bernice said it.
Mm-hmm.
So her perspective was I like that. I think it's nice, but I'm not sure if I like it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this afternoon you'll get to look at it again when it's a little further along, and you'll decide whether you like it or not. And I'll decide somewhere along the process as to whether I'm going to keep those or lose those.
Okay.
Or maybe I'll just keep one. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it in the end. I'm kind of working through it and just playing with it right now. So, as I said, I'll be working on this during lunchtime, and I'll be adding some more layers and pulling some things out. The one thing I did want to mention to you is, this being graphite and being laid down in washes like this, you still have the possibility of taking an eraser, like a kneaded eraser or a gum eraser or something like that, and erasing areas as well.
Mm.
Once it's dry. Now, I wouldn't try to erase it while it's wet because then you'll tear up the paper, but, just let it dry and you can go back in and you can, pull out a lot of that graphite, and keep manipulating just like you would any other drawing. And so again, that opens up, possibilities, for you to go back in and push things, make them lighter or darker, and keep moving back and forth that way until you adjust things to get them really just the way you want to. Okay.
So are all the
Charles,
real dark? Are they real black, or are they more silver grayish?
No, they're pretty. Here, let's see. I had one. Now this is a. Can you see this? I'm holding it up.
Yes.
One of the water soluble. It's what it says: General's Sketch and Wash. And the graphite itself is very soft. It's probably about a number 6 to number 9B. And when it goes down, it's really quite dark. Okay.
Mm.
And the thing I've found about using these is, you know, just a little bit goes a long way, and particularly when you add water to it. Okay. So you don't have to sit and scrub, you know, and keep really building it up to make an area dark, right? You can really put just a little bit down, you know, wet it, and it'll get pretty dark. And then you can adjust it if you want. If it's not dark enough when it dries, just go back in, add a little more, wet it again, you know, and, you know, you can build it up that way until you get it as strong and as dark as you want. Like, you know, the thing like I said, that I really love about these is, you know, you could make a mistake, you know, you get a line in the wrong place or whatever, and put a wash over it, make it a tone, and come back later on and go, okay, yeah, I kind of feel like I need to move that out, or I need to adjust it in some way. You wet it. You know, you wet it, you can take a paper towel, you can, you know, lift some of it out, you know, or just take a brush and literally push it over, you know, to where you want it. And so it's a real flexible medium, you know.
Hey, Charles,
Mhm.
Once it dried, would it smudge like a regular graphite, or?
Yeah, you can take it.
I mean, with like a transfer or smudge that you didn't want.
It doesn't seem to transfer, you know, badly. Of course, I've never really done it in a sketchbook, so I don't really know whether it will transfer.
Right, that's what I was getting at, right. You know.
Yeah, I don't know whether it will transfer to the other page or not, but if you did it in a sketchbook, you'd have to do it in like a sketchbook with some kind of heavyweight paper. Again, because you're just trying it in a sketchbook with bond paper. Bond paper wouldn't hold up, you know, to getting it as wet as you needed it to really kind of move it around. So you would need like a watercolor sketchbook, or something,
Right.
you know, or I don't think I've ever seen a sketchbook with Bristol board in it. Okay. There may be one out there, but I don't think I've seen one, you know, with Bristol.
Yeah, they do have the watercolor paper.
Yeah. Now, another possibility, I haven't tried this, and you know, now that we're talking about it, it sounds like maybe it's a good idea, is those pads of mixed media paper.
Ah, right.
Because mixed media paper is similar to, you know, like the same kind of board, like Bristol board. And it is made for wet and dry medium. So, yeah, I haven't really tried that. You know, maybe I need to do an experiment and see. So, anyway, thanks for the question. It's a good question. Anybody got any other questions about this? And what we're doing, you know, how we got there? No?
Nope, no more questions.
Okay, good. Well, you'll have to look at it for a little while after lunch.
Okay.
All right, let's get rid of that. Now, I do have some pieces that people turned in. Like I've got a couple of things from Wanda. I've got a couple of pieces from June, John. I have looks like a landscape, watercolor, and a still life. I've got a couple of pieces by Jacqueline. And so if anybody's got anything to send me, please go ahead and do that. And I'll collect them over the lunch period and try to get them in the queue so we can talk about them. And if they're, any kind of drawing medium, that would be great. If they're not, though, I'll still talk about them. Okay. I won't shut you out just because they're not a drawing. Okay. All right. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Because we actually got about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
No?
I think you were going to show a film on something that you didn't get a chance to on Wednesday.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was going to show two. Actually, that's a good idea. Thank you for reminding me about that. Okay, let's do that because I can find that, and let me get it out. Yeah, because there was a video from a gallery that I wanted to share with you guys. And let's see. There's the painting thing. Previous plans. Yeah, I saved a link to those things, and I thought I put them in the folder. F. All right, let's see. Inspirations. Well, okay. Yeah, I can't find those right offhand. Okay. I'll look for those and yeah, see if I can play them. I know I saved them somewhere. The question is where. Okay. Anyway. All right. But yeah, I'll try to pull those up, and depending on how much work we get, over lunchtime, because like I said, I've only got probably about 10 pieces total to talk about. So if you guys want to send some stuff in, that'd be great. I'll try to pull John's pieces that he was asking about, and I'll also try to, find those videos that I had saved the links to, and try to include those, so maybe we can watch them. Okay. Anybody got any questions beyond that? If not, I guess we'll go to lunch early. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
See you later.
See you later.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.